January, February, June, October, December. We had a lot of updates in 2012. So you're looking for your highest number I file, and then any versions thereafter is what gets you current. So in this scenario, 19, 20, 21 would make this current. Okay. So I'm going to, wish I had this already done, but I'm going to download these. This is a demo from the beginning. This is what Ray needs. Download 19. So I'm going to download 19, 20, and 21. And while we're doing that, I'm going to bring up EPC entry point.
Mine always drags too, for some reason. It's really a system hog.
The file is kept on my desktop as I was doing 10.0. So here's I think this was on box at one point. I have to check to see if it's still there or not. I need to get at the box. This is basically an extract of everything that was in our 10.0 system. I had a spreadsheet here showing where I was, whether it was complete.
So it's still painting your desktop on my screen.
Okay, this is a spreadsheet I was using when I was in 10.0, just kind of keep a track of where the content was, which systems they were in. But this is closely updated. This is what I want to get back on box for our 10.1 system so that we all know where we're at and know all the files in there. But also, you see, the way I set the files is that when I open up USHTS, this is the way I set it up at all clients. I don't know if this is something that you guys want to incorporate or not, but I always keep a source file of the original zips. Then I keep a separate non-text and duty rate file. For an example, I keep the duty rate files even though they don't have them in their system. At some point, they may want to have duty rates in there, so then they put them in. But so I'm looking at the non-file, and the easiest thing to do is to sort it by date to get a numerical order because of their numbering systems. You know, there's just a mix of how they name things. You always got to look for the I and the U, as I mentioned before, and then the version number. And then the other part of this whole code is when you see version 33 and then 001004, that tells you it's file 104. So 33 was the big HTS update from last December for the U.S., the whole book for 2014. That came out, I think, second week of December. So that had 4 files. That's typical. 4 full files to get the whole book in. And then right before Christmas, or for New Year's, between Christmas and New Year's, they issued 34, version 34, which was a small update to 2014. But this for the WCO year, we'll be getting one this week, next month. You know, like we were January, February, March, like crazy. Remember, the whole thing was delayed and then backtracked and everything else. So, anyhow, so I keep a noun file, I keep a text file, I keep the duty rate file. The other reason I do this is kind of as a reminder to the client that you always have to put noun files in first, then text files, then duty rate files. So 1, 2, 3. So if we're putting in 19, 20, and 21 for Canada today, we've got to put in all the noun files for 19, 1 through 4, however many there are, the text file for 19 if it exists, the duty rate files for 19 if it exists, and then go to 20. So you basically have to put them in the order that they were released, even though you're doing it on one day. That makes sense? So here's Canada. Yeah, so back in the 10.0 days, we were doing 13, 14, 15, 16. So we don't have to put those in now because we've got a brand new initial file starting point of 19. See what these files are doing. So you capture these 3. I'll put them on my desktop in a new folder just because this is separate from 10.0. get all these extracted into their own folders. D20 is just a small update. So I'm going to create a 0. Source. All the zip files go in there as they were delivered to us. I keep them separate. Then we create a NOM file. I can add to it just so I have the ID. Text file. And then duty rate. The DTI, that's your duty rate file. There's 23 of them. There's always large numbers of files when it comes to the duty rates. I'm going to guess we're not going to put the duty rates into our entry point system. No, we have to, right? Because we're doing a demo for NAFTA.
No, duty rates are only going to be used on imports. You can use duty rates with NAFTA, but only if you're doing NAFTA on imports. So duty rates are not necessarily relevant.
We'll be doing that at Steppen, though, so that'd be great if you can include that, Michael.
Sorry, say that again, Jim?
Yeah, this is Ray. We're going to be doing, Rod and I are working on the NAFTA project for Steppen, and they do have dutiable products coming in on NAFTA, so we definitely want to have that on our sandbox so we can prototype it.
Okay, that's okay.
Everybody should understand they're two separate things. So duty rates are declared on imports. NAFTA is an eligibility, that an import either meets or doesn't meet, but they're not dependent on each other.
Okay.
Okay, so what I did while we were talking, I have all three of those files spread out in NOM 19.1 and 2, NOM 20.1 and 2, and 21.1 and 2. See how that works? There's only text files for 19 and duty rates for all of them, 19, 20, and 21. Okay, so the order is going to be 19 NOM, 19 text, duty, 19 duty, then 20 NOM, 20 duty because there's no text, and then 21 NOM, 21 duty rate. All right. The other thing that the FTP site gives you is your structure and your unit of measure descriptions. I'm going to download these now. These should be pretty quick. You've got contents, your structure, and your unit of measure. That's pretty much all you need from the FTP site. While we're doing that, let me get into GTS.
Slow.
Yeah. So I'm going into the numbering schemes. The first thing we need to do is we need to set the unit of measure system for Canada. So I wasn't sure what we had here yet. Does this come from 10.0 then? Must have, right? So it's like my 10.0 config. I've got all these countries in here.
I'm still looking at FTP directory Canada. Yeah, okay, now start sequencing.
So when we build 10.1, we transfer everything over from 10.0, right? That's where this would come from. It's just a matter of adding content to 10.1, not doing configuration.
I don't know if that's true. We've had to do almost all the configuration for NAFTA in 10.1. I say we, other people have done it, but and I don't see much customs management configuration in there either. So I don't think anything's been transported from one system to the other, and that makes sense to me because 10.0 right now is managed by Proterra, and 10.1 is managed by Base.
Maybe some of this is coming out of the box. I don't remember doing it. Maybe I did. Maybe I did start it. I don't remember now.
I think you did. I think there was a period of time there where you were adding a lot of config here with STL and with HTS stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to the memory scheme was there. That's the first thing you need to do is add the country-specific memory scheme. Okay, this is all there. Okay, good. All right, we're in good shape then. So here's our structure for Canada in GTS. We have a 246.810, just like the US structure. Unit measure points to the Canada unit measure that we would have just created. And Ray, I'm going to show you how to do that offline with a new country. I thought I'd be showing you Canada and new, but it's already there.
Okay.
So you just point the Canada unit of measure scheme to the Canada numbering scheme. And you can check this box on. Measure type should be blank, I believe. Coding scheme, also blank. And maintenance would be product.
What's that chapter restriction? I've never seen that before.
That's new. Yeah, post tip number attributes.
Yeah. Any idea what that is? I was reading about that chapter restriction in the health file. So let's say you're a company that makes a fairly restricted product line of things, and you only have HTS codes in say three different chapters. And you don't do a lot of the imports, you don't have a lot of strange things come in and out of your factory or your place or whatever. You wouldn't want to upload the entire thing. You might just want to have just those 3 chapters in there. And you can do that. And the good news about that is you don't have to ask Customs Info to give you a special file that only has 3 chapters. This is 10.1 only. That was a new edition. Yeah, that's right.
So does it stop the upload, or does it just stop the display of those chapters?
I don't know that the text didn't say anything about that.
Let's hope it stops the upload.
Let's hope it does.
But we don't. I would think stopping the display would be better because at least the content's there, and then if they start importing a product that's within one of those chapters, they don't need to re-upload all these files again. They just change the restriction. But interesting to check out.
Yeah. I mean, I think pretty much every one of our clients could use this. The question is whether they care, right? It's not really that much of a hassle having all of them showing up, right? But it does come up on occasion. People ask for it.
All right, so the config for Canada is in the system entirely. I'll walk you through this with another country if you want to see this in greater detail. I thought this is what we'd be doing today.
Okay, appreciate that. Oh, just let the rest of the team know.
Mexico,
I'm
I
just
don't see Mexico on the list. We can do Mexico.
okay. And just a real quick comment. Just let the whole team know that I'm doing a screencast this also to capture it. Michael said it was okay.
Okay. Let's do Mexico together, you and I, if that sounds good.
Sure.
Put everyone through that.
You bet.
The system is definitely dragging. Let's go into actually getting the content up for Canada. And I guess there's an outside chance it could be there. I don't remember doing Canada, but it very well be there. I thought we did U.S. and Korea for the Hershey. So maybe we were going to demo. That's what I thought that was in here.
Rod has been working the system all along with the preference processing for Korea, so I think she's been kind of keeping that up to date. She may put that in.
I remember putting in Korea and U.S. That's all I thought that was in there.
Yeah, I did put the career, I believe, a long time ago.
All right, so add content, of course, in classification. And the second tab, classification master data. I'm going to search the upload log to see what we already have in there for Canada. So no data for Canada. Okay, good. All right, so that's bizarre. I'm just trying to figure out how Canada configures in there and then no content. Maybe I'll do config first. I did all the config. You gotta do country beginning to end before I start the next one. Be able to do it more as an assembly line. All right, so upload files again. The tier code numbers are for import files. Commodity codes are for export. If you've got a scenario where you've got a country that's going to use the import files for both import and export, you still put it on the tier code numbers. Or if they're using, like in the case of the U.S., if they're using the import tariff for their exports, you still have to put the content in under imports. Because there's table structures that are required for the import side, particularly the duty that only match the import content. So you can't put import content into the export side. And vice versa. So, upload there from XML. Generally, I create variants for each country, so it's easier for the client once they're live to not have to remember all these settings. So I do one for non-files, one for text files, and then on the duty side, we'll do one for duty. U.S. That's all I remember being in here, so that's where we're going to start. I'm going to grab the U.S. NOM variant. I'm going to change it to Canada. Now, if you saw real quick, everywhere along the way, I'm always putting in first and second, NOM and then text as the variant names. That way people always remember I got to put the non-files in first. Between that, with instructions and how you set your content files, if people forget that, then it's their own fault.
Does everyone know what text refers to specifically?
So it's a question for text.
It's a good question. Just I want to make sure people understand, because sometimes people think, well, that's the text of the code, which it's not, right? The nomenclature file has the text of the code. The texts are kind of chapter specific, headers, footers. I mean, you can explain that a little bit, Michael, so everyone's clear on what exactly is in this mysterious file.
Yeah, it definitely goes in fast because it's only the header and chapter notes, or the section and chapter notes of the book. So usually when I'm saving my variants, I also put in upload NOM files first here. So that way, but once again, they got to change this every time anyhow. At least that will then be the last opportunity to tell them NOM files first, right? I'm saving the variant now. The same variant for the U.S., I'm saving it for Canada. And the variant always had simulation on. I believe because you always do the simulation first just to make sure. Canada. So now we've got the variant for Canada set up. I'm going to go down to the contents and the Chapter 19, 1 of 4, or 1 of 2 file first. So CTCT says 10.1 contents, non-file 10, file 19, 1 of 2. All right, execute it. And at the bottom of the execute, then at the bottom of the status bar, it'll say formatting file, doing all sorts of different stuff. You can see that it's working in the lower left here as it's doing it. Here's a new prompt. This is new to 10.1, and I've only seen it with the entry point system. So I think it has something to do with how they built this, the folks that built this system. And the remember my decision is decorative, because you can click it all day long and it's never remembered your decision. But for some reason, you have to allow it. Some sort of security setting. I don't think anyone knows anything about that. GUI security. It's one more lovely step in our entry point system. So, just be warned. I've never seen it before, and I've never seen it since. So normally when I'm doing this type of work, I'm doing something else that's going on in the background, because this is, this takes a while. This file might take 2 or 3 minutes before it uploads. Usually I'm alt tabbing, and this is a background activity to something else, emails or whatever. I'm not sure how much of this you guys want to stand watching. If you were to grab all the files, all 1 through 4, this multiple files chosen would automatically check, and you could load all 4 in one step. I've tried that. When something goes wrong, it can get ugly. So, like if you've got something wrong with the second file, and the third one goes partially in, and I've had a few weird things happen over the different countries. So generally, when I'm doing it for the first time for a new country and new system, I'll do each one separately. And once I'm confident that I can get it into dev, then I'll do that for QA. We can do 1 through 4. Then at that point things should be okay. The content shouldn't have changed. The nomenclature check active box is important if you're going to use content and you're not going to open up your content for edits, because what that does is by checking that on, you're basically telling the system that you're going to let customs info control the order in which files are going to go in. And what they do is at the beginning of each file or at the end of each file, exactly where it is, they leave a number that tells the next file, that code needs to be there. It's basically, if you were trying to do 21 before 20, it would tell you 20 file 1 is the next one that is supposed to be uploaded. This is the wrong order. It kind of keeps you from making a mistake, basically, by keeping that nomenclature check active. And as far as these other checkboxes, I'm going to stick them on, changing the text of the memory scheme and the structure level, and activate all text types. I don't know if there's any experience with turning those off, if there's any benefit to that, but that gives you all the text types and for both the commercial language, the customs language. There's a number of different languages that are dropped into the tariff. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want all of this. There's a short text, a long text, and a commercial text, which we'll see in a second. We'll open up a new session. So we'll see if I can show that while this is going in to the U.S. I'm going to have to maintain tariff code numbers. It's probably a poor description, but you're not actually maintaining them here. You have the option of displaying. So it's kind of misleading there.
But you can maintain them here, right? I mean, if your system has that option that allows you to maintain codes, that's where you go, right?
Yeah, that's where you go. Usually there's just separate buttons for maintaining the display, right? So once you get into it, that lets you see it. So if you commit to customs info content, and you haven't added a note which allows you to crack into the tariff numbers to do edits, and we have a whole separate discussion on that. If you were to attempt to maintain numbers here, it would tell you, sorry, you're not allowed to, payments cannot be completed on protected tariff or whatever, because you see some sort of error that what it says. You can always display them. I'll do the decision paper on this for Sikorsky. I think it's probably in box. Yeah, it's stuck in box. If you guys ever need that, as far as whether a company should decide to crack it open or not. I'm torn on the subject personally, but it makes sense to not do it. Try to find another solution.
Just curious if anybody's heard, is there a reversal to that? So let's say you opted to change it so that you could modify it. Can you flip it back so that you couldn't?
Nope. Not as far as I know, you cannot. You can't relaunch it once you open it. Yeah.
Yeah, where I was going with that was, could it be treated like a fire call type thing where you have a special authorization for somebody who could maintain them to go in and do the maintenance and then sort of flip it back so nobody has that right anymore. But it sounds like you can't.
Yeah. Point no return. And I think once you put it in, it's across the board. I mean, you can't just do it for the U.S. and then leave the other ones locked in. You're basically saying this. Probably
You're right. Yeah.
That's like the big decision. I mean, if you might say, our U.S. guy, he's real good, we trust him. Well, you just open it up for every country you've ever done, also. So you guys in Malaysia and your not so careful folks elsewhere might handle the heck out of your system and kill you down the road. I guess that's why we had a decision paper, and why they debated it, Sikorsky, so long, is that, it was a big decision, and they chose not to. Jonathan, do you know where they decided to go with that? And I rolled off, they were still, I'm sure, I don't think things changed there or not.
I think they're still mulling it over. No decision yet.
All right, so here are all those descriptions I was talking about. You got the official description, which is I think that's the one that's in the tariff book. You get a commercial description, which might be a little bit more friendly from English perspective. Maybe not. That's interesting. Short text, which is what prints on customs forms generally. So you get the full text in the tariff book. But when you look at 7501, generally they just grab a short text, which has all sorts of code. And this one is blank. I don't know why it was blank.
What are you looking at? I'll tell you what I did. When you said this is what the descriptions look like, I started counting seconds, and it's been over 30 seconds, and I still haven't seen. I'm just now seeing the display change to where it has the list of text to the left, and now you've got an hourglass. You just clicked on concatenated text, and now some text is appearing.
Yeah, that's where I am. Okay.
Okay.
So the concatenated is all of the header, chapter, heading, subheading, all with your tariff number text, all in one. That's the full description. And then general explanation. I know we'll probably call that one before condition. So, yeah, there's all the text that we were saying to add or not. They mentioned not doing that. So let's see if our file uploaded or not. Yeah, all right.
So just to go back to what Robert said a little earlier, the text file, that's the one that's up there at the top, right, where it says like 0701 and right it says potatoes fresh or chilled. That's the text that's in the text file. What you're saying?
The descriptions that come with the numbers are in the nomenclature.
Oh, the nomenclature file.
The text files are strictly, the header and footnotes are the text files. It has nothing to do with these descriptions that are displaying down.
I'm just trying to remember where those are visible.
Yeah.
We can pretty much guarantee that none of our clients has ever benefited from the text file.
Yeah.
Sure. So we load it. Nobody ever sees it. No one uses it. You click on one of the folders, and then you can see it, right, Michael? But it's hit or miss. It's like, there's one here, there's one here, but there's no indication of where you have text.
I think if you go to the chapter and get there, 7, there we go, 7, 06.
Care Fusion was quite angry because we didn't get the WTO or WHO or something. There's a world organization that maintains like chapter notes and things, and these are really in-depth notes about each chapter. And
those are explanatory notes. Those are not in. Yeah, those are not accepted by the U.S. That's why we can't get it in the content. They're not officially recognized, although they will reference them in their rulings, which is pretty hilarious. They being U.S. Customs. If you look in cross rulings, you'll see references to the explanatory notes out of Brussels, but then they'll say you can't use them for your arguments officially. I think usually if you go to the chapter, then you can click on notes. I don't know what's going to come up here. There they are. Almost always find them at the chapter level.
Okay, thanks.
So this is what you get out of text files. All these notes, chapter, section, all footnotes and all that. Okay. All right. So here's our Canada upload, and green is good, of course. What did you do? And I'll click on status, and I'll sort. Instead of scrolling through the whole file, I'll sort by status. So what that will do is it'll give you a single green. That tells you everything's green. And just to make sure there isn't a red one at the bottom, I'll click on it again and sort the other direction, make sure it all comes up green. That's the fastest way I know of checking to see if there's a red one in the file. That makes sense? So you go both directions and make sure it comes up as only green. If there's a red one, it'll do the sort from the top or the bottom. I forget which order red is. Okay, so there they are. So we have an issue. How soon before you guys see this? So there is an issue with what? Final level. You guys seen the red dot, the red light?
Yeah, just now came up.
Okay. So something is wrong with this one. I'm glad I did that. That's exactly why you do that. You sort. When it first came up, you saw a bunch of green. The first 4 or 5 chapters were fine. Obviously, something's wrong with chapter 22, and a bunch of red. So instead of scrolling through the whole file, just sort on the stat on the traffic light in both directions to see if you get a red. Now that you have red, now you can sit there and go through and find out what's going on.
Well, I was wondering what that has any information.
What's that?
You got a scroll, a log icon up at the top left. I wonder if that has any hints to what the status is. You don't have to do that. I'm just talking about
Probably is. You're in simulation mode here, so that is the only way to see this. To see the issue. Yep. If you did it without simulation, then that would be in the log that actually went to the permit right in the file. Something wrong with the content you use. Is that 37,000 records? So see only the red ones. If you click on this line, these buttons should be able to exclude the green ones. But 37 records out of the 37,000. That's some sort of problem. Unit measure. Okay. So we're missing unit measure. It's a simple fix. LPA. Liters of something alcohol, I bet.
Yes.
Alcohol content of something. I'm glad this happens. Now you guys can see how to fix this. The way you can. He's going to see this otherwise. There might be a brand new unit measure that they said that came up in the last year. I don't know how we would know that, right? If the government suddenly says, I want to start measuring LPAs in the United States, and you've never done that before, they're going to slip that in. As soon as you go to do your tariff upload, you're going to get a brand new error unless there's some sort of communication from Customs Info. I've never seen that before.
So, you know, I'm wondering what the marketability of this kind of feature is. I mean, it's like, you know, if you get your content from like Customs Info and you do the uploads in GTS and you see this and you manage it, you would know about it. And I don't know if you had a service, you know, would they just automatically take care of it and you'd never know it?
Yeah, I would think Customs Info will say,
Not take care of it. Would they not take care of it? You never know it, and then all of a sudden you'd have shipments all over the place now.
yeah, I would hope that they've got a system that they're uploading other content that somebody else found. Hey, LPA is new for 2014. I don't know if that's true or not, if we just missed it. But at that point, I would be going to every one of my customers that has Canada content saying, here's your Canada file, and by the way, you need to add LPA for 2014.
Which obviously we want to do in our blog. I mean, now that we know about this and we've done the upload and seen the error, you know, we may not have a client who handles alcohol, but it might, you know, just an interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going back into config. It's 4 o'clock if people have to roll off. I don't know if anyone's paying attention. I'll go as long as you need to.
I've got a recording meeting. Thanks, Michael. It's very good, as always.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try.
Thanks.
Try one going more quickly.
Great stuff. Thank you, Michael.